Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order this morning. Thanks everybody for being here. Mr. Howald, are you gonna call roll?
I will do my best.
All right.
Mayor Pro Tem Chris Bryant.
Here.
Commissioner Bryant sends his apologies. Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Mr. Crispin. Commissioner Porter. Mr. Petty.
Here.
Mr. Martin. We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Move down to approval of the minutes of July 27th. Are there any corrections or changes in the minutes? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of July 27th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, a discussion regarding City of Clovis Plastic Recycle Program. Mr. Shearer, are you going to advise?
Yes.
Okay,
Just for, want to bring this up for discussion, the recycling of plastics. We, in the past, we've recycled and we bale the plastic, and then when we have trucks going to Albuquerque, we'll take the bales to a recycling place in Albuquerque. And the trucks are already going on that route, so it doesn't cost us extra fuel because it's not profitable to recycle. So we're trying to get the recycling done at a minimal loss. But in the past, we'd get 3 cents per pound, roughly, when things were good, which a bale is about a 600-pound bale, and the labor involved, especially now with minimum wage going up, with what we pay our recycler, with benefits, it's about $20 per hour, around $12.50 base pay plus benefits. Well, it takes about 16 hours of sorting to get one bale, which is about $320 labor. And then it takes about 8 more hours to make that, the plastic he gets from that into a bale. Because it's so large and fluffy and air, full of air. So, I mean, he's got to fill that machine hundreds of times and pack it. So it doesn't seem like it would take 8 hours, but it takes a whole day for him to make one of those big 600-pound bales. So about $160 in labor costs there. So our total cost just for his labor to make a bale is about $480. When we were getting 3 cents a pound, we'd get about $18 for that bale. So our loss was about $462 a bale.
wow.
And since then, the prices dropped down, it got down to where it was like around a penny a pound. So we're getting about $6 a bale. And our loss was $474 per bale. So obviously not profitable, and quite a high cost to us. And that doesn't include diesel and upkeep on the trucks and hauling the containers in from Albertsons and Walmart, and there's a lot of other things not even factored in. It's just one guy's labor. And now the problem is the recyclers that we want to take the plastic to really don't even want it because it's not cost effective for them to recycle it. So now we're having trouble even getting rid of what we collect. And Oscar was just telling me this morning that the Amarillo landfill had contacted us wanting to bring their plastics to us.
Wow.
Probably so they can say,
'cause
no,
of
we don't
cost.
put it in our landfill, we haul it to Clovis, because they can't make it profitable. And Oscar can speak a little more on the amount of plastics that comes in versus the trash and other stuff that's mixed in.
Well, we have, excuse me, we have bins, and probably about, I'm gonna say 80% of it is trash. Because people put in there they put in like plastic toys, plastic bags, produce wrappings, yogurt, margarines, tubs, and coffee cups, to-go containers. None of those are recyclable. They have a recyclable symbol on them. They're 3 to 7s, but they're not profitable. And on top of that, they're the Federal Trade Commission that classifies them as contaminated recyclable. So it's hard to recycle those. So the only ones, that we do are the 1s and 2s. So that's the soda bottles and the drinking bottles is the 1s. 2s are milk jugs and shampoo cleaning products. But you can't mix the number 2s with the shampoos and the cleaning products because then you contaminate them. So then you have to sort those out, so those are trash. And you can only do the milk jugs. And then if they're colored, then it's a different process. Then you got do colored only. So it's very hard to keep up for one person, obviously, to do all the sorting, the baling, to bale it. And like you said, it's not cost effective for the city versus maintenance of the truck. Obviously, paying the gentleman, pick up, diesel. So, I mean, the city is not producing any revenue in a positive way. They're getting some, $757 I think we got for 20 bales that took us 6 years to build. And that's when the market was good, like Bill said. But now it's zero. Nobody wants it. And ever since China back in 2018 stopped taking it, so they're not taking it. And China was actually kind of recycling, but most of it was getting burned anyways. So they stopped. So there really is no recycling program. Now, over on the East Coast, they have MRFs, which are big recycling places, and they have, I mean, plenty of staff, 40, 50 people probably sorting through this stuff, so they'd be able to produce and recycle it over there because they're running out of space in their property, landfill. And, well, we have plenty of space. Yes, recycling is important, but if it's not profitable, I don't think we should keep going down that same road. That's basically about it. Thank you.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, it's definitely not cost effective. So is the solution possibly look at not recycling plastic
Yes.
at all?
Well, I think we should consider that, but we're still gonna do the cardboard
Right.
and the tin cans. We don't do the aluminum cans because we don't want to interfere with those schools that profit off of that. But yes, we do profit off the tin cans and the cardboard. But yeah, I think we should reconsider this plastic for our sake and city revenue.
And even if we didn't profit off it, if we could just break even or be at a minor loss, we could say, well, there's a benefit to the ecosystem or whatever, but at this kind of a loss, I mean, that's tax dollars that we really don't have to throw away.
What's,
for what little good we
what's
get
the
out of it.
projected impact to the landfill then if we just dump plastic in there?
Well, like Oscar said, about 80% of what we haul in to be recycled goes in the landfill anyway, because it's not recyclable. So that other 20%, would you say it took 6 years to make 20 bales?
20
So
bales, yes, sir.
doesn't really impact us on any noticeable amount.
But it doesn't degrade below ground, so.
No, sir. It eventually it will, but it takes years and years. But it'll be a minimal impact on the landfill, because it's, I mean, we have 100 years of landfill space. The
Okay.
new cell we just built is 25 more years. So, I mean, eventually, yes, I think the city should get back into it when there's profit and there's maybe more staff to be able to handle it. But right now, it really won't hurt the landfill much.
There's not impact to that. It doesn't make sense to me at all to even do anything with it.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, I mean, you look past the cost part of it, that we're losing the money. The time that we consume of baling that, I had no idea it took that much time to bale it.
Well, the sort and bale was what, 24 hours roughly?
Yeah.
Yeah, 24 hours total, about 16 hours of sorting. Of course, that's because you're 80% of it's getting sorted and thrown away.
Yeah.
That 20% takes a long time to add up to a bale. But yeah, 16 hours for that and then another 8 hours to make one 600
When as
pound
we
bale.
increase wages, that's going to
Get worse. So
even
that's
make
what's
it worse.
We used to, some of our lower paid guys made $7.50 an hour, so, with benefits, you'd have been paying around 12 an hour, now we're paying close to 20 an hour, so it's we're getting less for the plastic and we're paying a lot more to process it, and so the loss margin's getting bigger all the time.
So can we make a proposal to get to the commission that we stop doing this?
this isn't an action item.
Yeah, and so,
Action on it?
yeah, Mr. Chairman, and what we can do is at the next meeting, if y'all so choose, we can put it as an action item to make a recommendation to either eliminate the program or to pause the program, and then we'll continue to watch the markets. As Oscar was saying, I mean, when you look at the MRF facilities that are in other areas of the country, it is very automated. I mean, it's amazing the way they sort the plastics. I mean, using conveyor belts and air, and it's fascinating. However, we just don't have those capabilities to handle that.
So we're just looking at eventually taking the plastic containers, like,
Well, we
that
could
are over
just,
at,
we probably would be able to take those out, but we would convert those just to cardboard and tin
I know,
cans.
I know at one time back, quite some time ago, we looked at also putting some containers over on the west side that, we had at one time. Have we thought any more about that?
We spoke about it, but, there's no property that's, will allow us to put the containers over there. Because most of the properties are private property on that side of town.
Yeah, I remember that's what the issue was.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, any other questions regarding this?
Nope.
If not, yeah, I think we all agree to go ahead and put it on the agenda for the next meeting to,
Yes.
take action on that particular item. Okay, move down number 5, discussion recommendation regarding MLK improvements. Mr. Howald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. As you've heard me talk about in the past, the Martin Luther King project is from 7th Street going to 21st Street is 100% designed and ready to be constructed. We were seeking transportation project funds from the state of New Mexico to fund that project so we could put it out to bid, et cetera. Unfortunately, we did not receive that funding from the state, and so what I have brought to you today is a proposal to utilize our American Recovery Plan Act funding, utilize some of our road bond funds, and then utilize some of our drainage funds for this project. The estimated cost for the project is around $7.4 million. The city of Clovis did receive $9.7 million in American Recovery Plan Act funding. So looking at that particular budget, what I would propose to use is about half of that for this particular project. About 1.7 million would come out of our road bonds, and then the remaining about 1.5 million would come out of our drainage funds. It's a project that we've obviously had on the books for several years. I'd like to continue to try and move that project forward, and so this is my thought process on how to make that happen. If you do recommend moving forward like this, we would, of course, take that to the city commission requesting permission to bid the project and to move it forward. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, this has been a long-term project that we've worked on for many, many years to try to get accomplished. So I think Mr. Howald has good ideas to how to make this happen. Any questions? Or do we have a motion to make a recommendation to the city commission?
Is this just a discussion item as well? I mean,
No, it's action.
No, this is a discussion and recommendation.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the plan presented by Mr. Holwalt.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, move down to update on current projects. Back to Mr. Howald for a city update.
Thank you. As if you haven't noticed, work on North Street is still ongoing. All of the paving has been completed, and they're currently in the process of concreting the roundabout. They've completed the southern half of the roundabout, and now they're obviously waiting for that to cure, and then we'll be switching traffic to where we can concrete the northern half of the roundabout. That project was originally scheduled to be completed in about a month's time. And so they're still on schedule to have that wrapped up during that time period. The 7th Street project, if you haven't walked outside this morning, they're starting to get going on that finally. We were able to wrap up the storm drain revisions with CenturyLink and trying to avoid their major duct bank that they have running down 7th Street. And so once that was completed, they were able to get any changes to K-Barnet, and the storm drain has now been ordered, and so we're just waiting for those structures and pipe to arrive on site, which should be about the beginning of November. But until then, they're working on some water line work that you see out front here, and then, like I said, in about a month's time, or a couple weeks' time, actually, now at this point, the major work on 7th Street will get started and underway. That one is scheduled for about a year, so expect to seek alternate routes on 7th Street for about a year, starting the end of this month. The Purdue project, I spoke with the consultants on that. They're submitting to me 60% design plans at the end of this month, and so once I've had an opportunity to review and make any comments on those, they'll continue forward on that and have some funding ideas on that once we get to that point. But that project is continuing to move forward. Our FEMA floodplain submittal, once again, we have received more comments back just 2 weeks ago from FEMA. And it's interesting because it's like, we need to have your newspaper publication. Well, we've sent them the newspaper publication. They asked whether or not Les Chancho, who is our certified floodplain manager for the city of Clovis, they asked, well, is he the certified floodplain manager for Curry County as well? It's like, no. And so it's random questions, so each time they submit to us questions, that buys them more time to review. And so I feel like we're kind of in that process at this point of them just asking questions so that they can buy themselves more time to review. So the reuse project, we had submitted our application to the Water Trust Board for the remainder of the work that had to get to the end users that we haven't been able to award in the past due to funding constraints. And so we submitted a request of about $2.1 million to the Water Trust Board. They had their meeting, and they're in the process of reviewing the applications at this point to make their recommendations to the legislature. So when the session starts, they'll have that in front of them. So good feedback on our project on there. We've always been very successful with the Water Trust Board. Our applications to date have never been not approved, and so very excited to hopefully receive funding so we can wrap up the reuse project. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions? Did a good job, no questions.
Well, that's the goal.
Okay, move on to the Clovis Municipal Schools update with Mr. Brady.
How's everybody doing? Thank you for having us, board and commissioner. Really just follow up on all the projects that we talked about as far as doors, windows, parking lots, and renovations. We've put all those to bed. We are in the beginning of process of design phase for phase 2 at Berry, which it's really more cosmetic. They're going to redesign some of the nurses' suite to meet adequacy, as well as the administrative offices, doors, windows, floors, new paint, and some ceiling work there, as well as their multipurpose room will be touched in that redesign. We started the design process for our ICANN, the alternative school that we are in the process of putting in place for students that need behavioral support as well as academic. And so started that a week ago with the architect, and excited about where we're going to head with that. In the next several months, we should get that locked and be going out to RFP for a contractor and start the building process there. Do have some good news. We did receive $3.1 million from the state, and it's all targeted towards maintenance and repair. We are working on a plan of how we're going to allocate that money, but that money will be used to support all of our programs of study and facility needs across the district. And so we're going to be equitable about how we distribute that, but we're really excited. I brought with me our Senior Director of Operations, Lauren Hill. Lauren, do you want to add anything to that?
The projects are going well that we completed. There's a few items from supply chain issues from Clovis High School for doors and windows, but looking forward to that 3.1 for future maintenance.
Great. Anything else?
No, sir.
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate the update. Okay, move down for the good of the order. Does anybody have anything else that needs to be brought up or visited about?
Mr. Chairman, we may want to look at that meeting date for the next meeting in November. I think it falls the week of Thanksgiving.
Yes, it's actually on the, I believe on the 23rd. And so,
We could move it to the following week on the 30th. I believe that's open if everybody can. I know that we have one agenda item regarding plastics.
Yeah, and normally, during the holiday season, we don't have a lot of committee meetings due to not being able to have a quorum. But due to this particular item on here, and maybe a couple of other things, that might come up between now and then, I'd kinda like to have a meeting and get this, plastic recycle program figured out and sent over to the commission.
I'm gonna be out of town, but I can call in for that meeting.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'll be
That'd be
in
fine.
California.
Does the 30th work for everybody else?
I won't be available that week.
Okay, okay. How about y'all?
I'm available.
Still available? Okay.
That's not something we can put now to, I mean, it's gotta go to the commission, can we not?
We can take it directly to the commission without a recommendation from this committee.
And but we can't recommend it at this meeting because it wasn't an action item.
Correct, yes, sir.
Right, right. So what's the wish of the committee? Y'all wanna have a meeting and talk about it, or do you wanna just take it right to the commission?
We can simply state that it has been presented to the Public Works Committee, and
Okay.
without formal action, that they were
Since we're-
understood
since-
and moving forward, we can
Okay,
certainly do
since
that
we're
as well.
getting into the holiday season, everybody's kind of, busy with the holidays and everything that's going on, why don't we just go ahead and take it straight to the commission?
I agree.
And, do it that way.
Certainly. And then the other item would be to, for now, cancel the meetings for November and December unless something comes up, plan for that.
Right. Yeah, let's do that. If that's acceptable to the committee, then that's how we'll move
Yeah,
forward on that.
I would also recommend that we put a pause on it. We don't just completely do away with the program. We put a pause and watch the market, and if it does
Yeah.
do something wacky, we can reenact it pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Anything else? Okay, I've had a few comments. The neighborhood meeting we had over on, for District 3 back a month ago.
Month ago.
Okay, we had some concerns about traffic in that area. And, as we do in all the residential areas throughout town of people going way too fast and speeding and, finding a solution to that is tough. I'm not sure if there is a solution. And so, if anybody has any ideas as to, how to, take care of that issue, be more than willing to listen and hear about them, but I, at this point, don't know if there is a solution. This is a problem we have in every residential area, and I think people are trying to bypass, of course, Prince Street and some of the heavier populated areas and take the residential streets, going north. So it's a problem everywhere. I agree. So, but I did tell them I'd bring it up, so I did.
Mr. Chairman, I would encourage anybody that's flying, take a look at cities. And Clovis is kind of unique because we're very gridded, and so everything is interconnected, north, south, east, west. And so it does allow for those opportunities for individuals to try and avoid some of our major arterial roadways. And so next time you're out flying, take a look, and you'll notice that a lot of subdivisions are not interconnected. A lot of roadways from a design standpoint have curvature in them, horizontal curves in them, which naturally slow people down. And so it's just, I'm not gonna say it's unique to Clovis, but it's just the way that Clovis has developed over the years.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, especially your northbound streets like Axtell, Wallace, Gidding, those streets there.
They go all the way through.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And I did have a constituent the other day talking to me about the speed sign that we just installed over on Gidding, and they were talking about, people try to see how fast they can go before they get to it. But at the same time, your responsible drivers look at it as, oh, I didn't realize I was going that fast. And it slows them down. So I think it works both ways. I think it's a good thing to have, but, it does work both directions.
No, I think the positive outweighs the negative, though, because I've noticed a huge difference on Colonial since we put those up in there. People don't come flying through there like they used to.
Well, I've noticed, you're exactly right, and I've noticed the same one over on Manana.
Oh, yeah.
if that
No,
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
it does slow people down, at least the responsible drivers.
Correct.
Okay, anything else? Nope. Okay, with that, we are adjourned.